Manifest Destiny, such a mysterious thing. How did it begin? Manifest Destiny all began when John O'Sullivan claimed our manifest destiny to overspread the continent allotted by the Providence for the free development of our yearly multiplying million. Today we will be discussing industrialization, otherwise known as Manifest Destiny. It all started in the 1840s and lasted nearly half a century when America was still that fresh out of college middle child, not knowing what it was going to do with this life. We had all this confusing land that had who knows what Native Americans in it after purchasing some from the French in 1803 and receiving some from Mexico in 1848. Anyways, as we became more confident in our nation, we began to expand westward. The Oregon Trail was one of the first ways to get to said west. Settlers felt that it was their duty to go explore the new half of the country and shove the already cramped natives onto even smaller land. Another trail traveled by early settlers was the Mormon Trail. It was generally only used by Mormons, though, because of their constant persecution, others' hatred of them, dying from traveling too much, the usual terrifying life of constant traveling. Next, Wait, another trail? What? Wasn't this the age of transportation revolution? Why are we so obsessed with slow travel? Ugh. Anyways, the Santa Fe Trail is an old forgotten trail used mainly by Mexican and American soldiers for trade before we took Texas from them in a relatively short war. This war had a bunch of volunteers that had this odd sense of nationalism, whatever that is. Now, one question is, why were people so hesitant on traveling on the obviously travelable trail? It was not from having to stay away from their phones for a long time, as they only had telegraph wire back then, but I'm sure if they did have some sort of iPhone, they would agree that having to be away from it for a whole year would truly be a curse upon humanity. The not wanting to die, have to throw out everything you own, or get attacked by bandits was the reason only the foolish trekked into the unknown. People got sick, stuck in bad weather, drowned, had to throw out all their belongings to lighten the load for animals, ambushed by Native Americans, crushed by their own family's wagon, or did not have enough resources to live the entire way there. For example, the Donner Party, who in 1846 set out to find a new trail to California, but were stuck in bad weather in the Sierra Nevada mountains and had to survive the whole winter through. For example, the Donner Party, who in 1846 set out to find a new trail to California, but were stuck in bad weather in the Sierra Nevada mountains and had to survive the whole winter through, and turned to good old-fashioned cannibalism. About half of the 90 people that went on this new path came out alive. After that special moment in history, we had a war with Mexico and had only the previously stated volunteers from the great boot-shaped state of the Cowboys. Oh, fun fact, they wore bowler hats. How weird is that? One battle that was in the short-lived Mexican-American War was at Alamo, old Mexican base that the Texans took over and stationed 200 soldiers there to look out for adversaries. It turns out that the opposing force wanted their base back, and they came with tons of unhappy military men and proceeded to attack. Thankfully, though, the Bowler Hat Boys defended the mighty base for a grand total of 13 days. From February 23rd, 1836 until March 6th, 1836. Soon after, our good man John O'Sullivan coined the phrase manifest destiny and used it to capture the overall good feeling of the American people at the time, which was that it was their God-given duty to expand to the West and bring about the enlightenment of the American government. Soon, the California Gold Rush began. The California Gold Rush brought about people called 49ers, which were named this way for the year there became an abundance of them in California, 1849. Gold nuggets were found in the Sacramento Valley and sparked the Gold Rush of 1848. The Gold Rush sped up the admission of California as a state into the Union. Throughout America in 1849, men, mostly, mortgaged their homes, spent their life savings, or borrowed money to travel to California in hopes of finding gold and striking it rich. In turn, women left behind took on new responsibilities such as running a farm or a business and taking care of their children alone. Speaking of women becoming more involved, we have the Lowell textile system, which hired only young women during the Industrial Revolution. Employing such a specific group of people made it virtually impossible for the women to have to take time off to care for children or because of pregnancy, unlike the opposing Rhode Island system, who hired whole families, keeping children and siblings and parents together. These children were able to replace their parents when they died or retired. The reason we needed so many more workers was Eli Whitney's invention of the cotton gin. Inventions like these, such as Morse code, which was invented by Samuel Morse in the 1830s and 40s, and other inventors, helped during the Industrial Revolution. The telegraph revolutionized long-distance communication. New machines like these during the Industrial Revolution brought about new jobs.